Oh, Ray. Hold on, man. I got you. There's an E-harp in the water. Someone will be looking for us. Ray! I got you. Hey.
George Travell here. Yeah, Coast Guard, I hear you. What's up? EFERF signal. Yeah. Which boat? Yeah. Provider Quest has got her distress signal with her, so let me give her a call, see if she responds. Yeah, I figured you did. Now I'm gonna try. Okay. Provider Quest, Provider Quest, Provider Quest. This is Nootka Packing, Nootka Packing, over. Provider Quest, this is Nootka Packing. Joe, Mike, anybody, over. Provider Quest, this is Nootka Fish Packing on channel 16, over.
She goes under in a flat sea.
Found John in the boat and the old man in the water nearby. Still have one body missing.
Now there's 2 survivors?
Yes, sir.
All right. Take them away. Just take them down to the morgue.
Excuse me, who's in charge here?
That'd be me. My name is Dominic Vinci. I'm from the coroner's office.
I'm wondering if you would have any objection to us seeing them.
Hold it up there a second, will you, fellas? The family?
Yeah, this is Terry Vale, this is Joe's wife, and this is Christina Vale, John's wife.
And you are?
I'm Gina Vale Kipman. Ray Vale Kipman's my husband. He's still missing.
Also, John's your father.
Yeah, and Joe's my grandfather.
I'm very sorry for your loss. Are you sure you want to do this here?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead. I'll just ask you not to disturb them.
Hey, yeah, Jack, what's his name, from the Fishermen's Union? He called.
Jack Mariana, yeah?
Mariana, he's on his way down. Also, some officious-sounding little brown nose called Runyon. He's from the fish packing company that owns the boat. He wants to have lunch with you today.
What? Nobody's wasting any time. Jimmy!
I spoke to the Coast Guard. I want to get this to Inquest as quickly as possible. And I want you to let them know up front we appreciate the cooperation.
Oh, it's probably accidental, but we don't know.
Yeah, well, unless we get something from autopsy that points us in a different direction, we're going to run with this.
Fine with me. Did you see that rescue report? What'd you think?
I'm not happy with these response times.
No. And their boat went down by an unmanned lighthouse.
Like stirring up an old stew, huh?
No, hey, one sec. Patricia.
Yeah?
You not started the autopsies, John Vale and Joe Vale?
Sonny's prepping them now. I'll let you know.
Oh, Jack.
Dominic, in your office.
Okay. I'll sit up my own chair. Okay.
Whatever. I'll get right to it.
Well, from you, I wouldn't expect less, Jack.
Just so you know, I'm on the family side, and I'm going to be biased as hell right down the line. I'm Fishermen's Union rep, and I'm Union Safety Director, so I'm pulling double duty on this one.
Okay, well, let me get right to it, all right? What kind of fisherman was Joe Vale?
Joe Vale had been fishing since he could bait a hook. He had over 60 years' experience. His son had 30 years on the water. His grandson, 10 years. That's a century of experience amongst them.
Could be interpreted as maybe complacency is now setting in and they're making mistakes, no?
Not one incident until 2 years ago.
What the hell was that?
They had a boat burned to the water. A leaky stove. Marine insurance paid off. What with fishing gone to hell, the old man decided to throw in with Nootka Packing.
Okay. Okay. So what about the boat?
Nothing. Transport Canada Safety sent a marine casualty investigator to the boat yesterday. He's coming down with the tow. We'll know more when he files his preliminary report.
Yes, we will.
But regardless of what he says in the report, the packing company's going to try and lay this off on the family.
Yeah?
Now, they know you're going to Inquest. They're going to do everything they can to influence you.
That's what you're trying to do.
Hell, yes. But they're not going to tell you that.
But I'm having lunch with their rep this afternoon.
Well, I got a couple of frozen spring salmon and 10 pounds of smoked sockeye. Does that get me in the game?
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, listen. How's your mom doing?
Oh, you know, it's going to take her some time.
How long were they married?
50 years.
My condolences.
Thanks, Jack. All right, it's nice you asked.
I performed the autopsy on the father. Patricia took the grandfather.
They're both drowned?
There's evidence of hypothermia and drowning.
Yeah.
We also did just get the tox results back.
What about that?
Jovial had high levels of alcohol in his system.
Did he do his job?
I don't know his job.
What about the son? Was he drinking too?
Son's alcohol was somewhat more metabolized. It was probably earlier he was drinking.
His father, on the other hand, he might have had a drink or two just before the accident.
Doesn't mean it affected his performance.
Usually does.
Depends on, I don't know. Sometimes it actually helps, Patricia.
Helps how?
It helps. You out there, it's 20-knot winds. You're freezing your hands to the bone. A little shot of rum and gets the blood going again.
Warms the body, drains the brain.
Depends on the individual, I always say.
I assume from your attitude that you're expecting some tough questions at Inquest.
You betcha. So what about the other artifacts?
Some post-mortem injuries, some pre. The father had a broken nose.
Son had a wound on the back of the head.
Both of those we think were pre-mortem.
Everything histology on those?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like surprises. I just don't want surprises, okay? So just keep me updated on your findings as they happen. Look at those hands. She knows those hands? Beautiful. Hard worker.
They remind me of your dad's hands.
Hey, Dom.
Jack?
Did Mom get that fish all right?
Yes, she did. Thank you. Now, these Vales are pretty heavy drinkers, weren't they?
I never saw him drunk. It's gonna come out, though, huh?
Yeah, it's all gonna happen.
You either gonna make a meal of that?
Doesn't mean they weren't doing their jobs. There's 5 guys on the boat.
You know, a lot of people, they don't understand the kind of work goes on a fish boat.
No, they don't.
I mean, unless you've done it, you can't know. You're gonna select the jury for the inquest.
No, the sheriff does that.
It'd be good if there was a couple of fishermen on it.
What are you asking me? Insult the jury now, too?
Here comes that asshole lawyer from the fish packing plant.
Old friends, huh?
Well, boat looks pretty good for having gone through a rollover.
Well, that ought to be some consolation to the widows.
Meant no disrespect.
All right, fellas, have you ever got their copies of the casualty report? Should we take a walk through? Now, it says right here that when they found her, all the hatches were open.
Could be they were open while they loaded more fish.
Nah, I don't know how you get that. The hatch covers washed away when she capsized.
The report also states that the stern starboard hatch, the seals appear to be worn. Now, does this appear worn?
A little bit, maybe.
It's impossible to tell how well it was sealed without the cover on it. Need 2 pieces of a puzzle to tell how tight it fits?
Okay, next item is the lazarette door. It says here it's lashed open. Yep.
No, he's right about that. You can see it right there. And if these scuppers there were blocked, then any water she might have shipped wouldn't drain off and could downflood into the engine.
What's going to block the scuppers?
Crew gear, nets.
Never seen that in my life.
Okay, now what about the nets? Where are they?
Salvage is still trying to recover them from the area.
Let's have a look inside now. Okay, now, according to this is exactly the way she was when they rolled her over. There's the throttle, which is still slightly forward, and automatic pilot's off. So that means what? Someone was at the helm?
Yeah. Yeah, report says when they found her, the rudder was turned about 30 degrees to port.
Well, that doesn't mean a thing to me. Either you're turning left or you're turning
Not
right.
while you're loading fish.
You already got it figured out they were loading fish. How can you tell what the hell was going on? Why don't you just get some tea leaves, open yourself a little booth at the psychic fair?
Gentlemen, we're just dealing with the man's initial report here, okay? We still have 2 survivors yet we haven't interviewed, so let's just deal with it like this. Let's respect the fact that tragedies occurred, and we're going to get a fair reading on things. I'll need the logbook and the stability booklet for a start.
Probably over here in one of these drawers. Here you are.
Oh, no. Is it all right?
Yeah.
No, it's not. This is for another ship. This is the stability booklet for the Hecate Warrior.
Yeah, the Hecate Warrior. That's the Provider Quest sister ship. They're identical.
Identical? Really? Was there any stability problems with this ship?
Nope. Both boats have good reports.
Okay, is that the logbook?
Yeah.
For this ship?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm going to take a few moments to look around myself. Thanks, gentlemen, for coming down. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.
No problem.
I could hear him inside the hull somewhere. He was trapped. I found out later it was John. I don't know how he got trapped under there. The last time I saw him, he was in the wheelhouse. Next thing I knew, he suddenly heeled to starboard. So fast. By the time I got up on deck, we were already rolling over. Went into the water. It was so cold, I lost my air. Panicked a little. My head was pounding. I surfaced, looked around for something to hang on to, looking for the boat. I saw the hull roll up like a whale and swam over, climbed up on top. That's when I heard the hammering on the hull.
You all right?
Excuse me? Excuse me, are you Michael Vale?
Yeah, that's me.
How do you do? My name's Dominic Vinci. I'm the coroner. Your mother said I'd find you here.
I'm not talking to you.
Talk to me now or talk to me later.
I'll make it later.
I'm very sorry for your loss of your father and your grandfather.
Thanks.
I had your deckhand in my office this morning, and we're trying to piece together exactly what happened here. And if you could help us at all, it'd be greatly appreciated.
I can't help you. Sorry.
I have to?
It's your dad's. Who's this man who keeps leaving the fish? Jack somebody.
Yeah, Jack Mariana. You don't remember him. Mariana. We played soccer in high school.
Oh. Well, he must be doing well. He left half a dozen fresh crabs this morning.
He did? Want me to go boil up a couple right now? Okay. You have to go. Morning.
Morning. What is that?
For you, I brought you a crab. Look, this one's almost getting out. Here you go.
I can't eat it. I'm allergic to shellfish. Yeah, I swell up like a tomato and I can't breathe and I have to be rushed to emergency.
Okay, no problem. Morse?
Thank you.
No problem. We're still moving, baby.
Yeah, man, love it. Love it.
Jerk those up, eh? Now, I need that preliminary jury list from the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
They come?
Okay.
I need them. Go. Time. That's it? Great. Who we got here? Marine insurance salesman? I don't think so. Fisherman's wife? Good. Dock stevedore? No. No, maybe. Good, strong union. Love this guy with the tugboat ticket.
Which guy?
Joe?
Joe's a woman. Short for Joanne. She's a cook.
Well, that's okay. We need a couple of women in there.
Yeah.
Marine biologist I love. Also a woman. All right, it's a pretty short list. I think we better get some more choices for the sheriff. If you could take a look through the voters list and pull anybody who's working in an area where the resources are running out. Hazardous, also very good.
Okay. Are you looking for the sympathy?
No, not really. I just want people who can cut through all those tears and all that rhetoric that'll be flying around.
I got you.
Hey, Al.
What's going on?
Nothing. Just, we hadn't seen you for a while, so we just stopped by.
Just want to check you out, see how you're doing since your old man passed.
Oh, that's nice. Come on in. What are you doing out in the hall? Come on. Yeah, well, you know.
Sure made a good bottle of wine, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. The best. Actually, that's my grandpa's wine.
Really?
Old family recipe. There are 3 or 4 bottles still up at the house. You guys want to come over? I'll put a salmon on the barbecue.
When, tonight?
Yeah, why not?
Not tonight.
Why not?
No, okay. I can make a call.
We can make a call. Love them. Morris Winston?
Yeah.
You up for barbecue?
Barbecue. Yeah, man, every time.
All right, I'll need those crabs back.
Sure. They're on ice in the morning.
No one here stands accused of a crime. This inquest is not to assess guilt or innocence. You will hear how 3 fishermen, 3 herring fishermen, Joe Vale, his son John Vale, and his son-in-law, Ray Vale Kipman, all drowned when their fishing boat, the Provider Quest, capsized on March 10th of this year. You will also hear from various witnesses, various experts, and also 2 survivors from March the 10th. One is the grandson, Michael Vale, and the other is Paul Stiles, who's a deckhand. Now, as jury members, what you'll be asked to do is to weigh all the evidence and then to render a verdict. But you'll also be asked to make certain recommendations based on the events that we're dealing with. For the purposes of this inquest, Mr. Robert Kelly will act as the coroner's counsel, so he'll begin the questioning. Thank you.
It's a distress signal called an EPIRB, Emergency Position Indicating Radio Beacon. We picked up the first EPIRB from the Provider Quest at about 4:30.
But it was still approximately 45 minutes before a helicopter was dispatched. Why was that?
The signal is sent via satellite to Command Center in Ottawa, where the identity of the vessel is kept. That information is then faxed to Rescue Coordination Center in Victoria, and an attempt to contact the vessel is made at that time. If that fails, we rely on orbiting positioning satellites to narrow down the location. In this case, a charter jet picked up the same EPIRB a half hour later, and that gave us a better idea where to look for her.
And when you eventually reached the provider quest, what did you find?
The vessel had capsized, and one survivor was on top of the hull. We found another body in the water nearby and recovered a body from inside the vessel. A couple hours later, auxiliary rescue picked up a fourth man alive. He drifted a ways away. The fifth crew member, Ray Vale Kipman, is still missing and presumed drowned.
Thank you.
That boat went down where? Could you show the jury?
Sure.
Thanks.
2 nautical miles north-northwest of Sisters Lighthouse. Right here.
Okay, and the nearest auxiliary rescue was where?
Deep Bay, right here. But we couldn't call auxiliary rescue until we'd assessed the situation.
And why not? Because you knew where the boat was.
Didn't know if we had a false alarm. 99% of all EPIRBs we get are false alarms.
Now, on March the 10th, the entire herring fleet was out. How many false alarms did you receive that day?
We didn't get any.
Are there any questions for this witness from the jury? None. Mr. Onion.
What was the state of the safety equipment on the boat?
We recovered several survival suits. 2 were in fair condition. 1 was unserviceable. But it appears that she rolled over pretty fast, so I doubt they would have had time to get into him anyway.
And how fast can a boat like the Provider Quest roll over?
A matter of seconds. The engine and galley room doors were found to be open, so downflooding would have happened pretty fast.
Thank you.
All right, the witnesses.
Excuse me. Excuse me. My name's Gina Vale Kipman, and I'm a legal secretary. I would like to request standing at this inquest.
Are you representing the family?
I'm representing my husband, Ray. He was the 5th crew member, and he's missing and presumed drowned.
I have no objections. Do you have questions for this witness?
Yes. Thank you. You said that you recovered the body of my father, John Vale, from inside the vessel.
Yes.
And while your diver was looking for other victims, he searched the entire vessel, including the galley. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
According to his report, he states that he noticed a galley window was damaged.
That's right. He said it appeared to have been smashed.
So that happened before the boat rolled over.
It's hard to tell.
The herring fishery is pretty intense, isn't it?
That's true. There's only a set number of hours, and each quota has a set limit, so...
So a man can work 18, 20 hours a day to make money, and that could affect his judgment.
Ma'am, personally, I don't know of a man who works on a boat, doesn't have a healthy respect for the sea every moment he's on board.
Both victims showed signs of hypothermia, but the cause of death was saltwater drowning.
I see. And if someone was to go into the water at that time of year, what are their chances of survival?
Winter seawater temperatures are around 7 degrees Celsius, give or take. At that rate, an average adult has a survival time of less than 2 hours.
And if they had an immersion or a survival suit?
Well, it would depend upon the body weight of the individual and the type of suit, but men have been rescued safely from the water after 24 hours.
Thank you.
You stated that the blood alcohol level of the skipper, Joe Vale, was high. In your opinion, could his performance or judgment have been impaired?
It's possible, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Your autopsy states that my grandfather, Joe Vale, had a broken nose and that there was a contusion on the back of my father, John's skull.
That's correct.
Is there any way of determining when those injuries took place?
The wounds had already begun their healing process, so it's probable that the injuries occurred sometime the previous night.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The witness is excused. Right now, we're going to adjourn for lunch. After lunch, we're looking at the boat. There's transport provided, but we're in recess until then. Thank you.
Everybody seen everything? If you're feeling seasick, please over the side, not on the sheriff's uniform. All right, Sheriff. We're hoping to show you the net, but that is still being recovered. So the witness is still sworn in, Mr. Kelly?
Thank you. Mr. Travell, you're a manager for Nootka Packing, which owns the Provider Quest.
That's correct.
Now, the Provider Quest went through a refit 2 years ago, is that correct?
She was fitted with some updated gear, yes.
This is the stability booklet for the Provider Quest. However, the name on this booklet is for another vessel, the Hecate Warrior. Why is that?
The Hecate Warrior is the sister boat of the Provider Quest. They're identical. Since the Warrior had an incline test done, the same stability booklet was used for both vessels.
I see. Would you mind explaining to the jury what an incline test is?
Well, an incline test tells you how far a boat can heel over before she capsizes.
So the center of gravity of the boat. Was there an incline test done for the Provider Quest?
As I said, she didn't need one.
So what then is the purpose of the stability booklet?
Once the center of gravity is established, guidelines are drawn up to aid the skipper when he's loading cargo so he can keep the boat on an even keel.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Jerry, if you could refer to these booklets you've been given, the reports prepared for us by an independent marine consulting firm, and their findings concluded that the drum, which is right here, Jerry, it's on the stern and it's used for hauling in the nets, is much larger than one that's used on the sister ship, therefore raising the center of gravity. So in actual fact, the ships weren't identical, were they?
We discussed the raised center of gravity with our naval architect, and using a computer model, he couldn't get the boat to capsize under the same conditions.
Unfortunately, the Vales were piloting a real ship and not a computer on a desk. Mr. Runyon?
No questions at this time.
You stated that your marine architect attempted to capsize the Provider Quest.
On the computer, yes. Under the circumstances given to him, he couldn't get it to swamp.
Was he ever able to capsize it under any circumstances on the computer?
He was. Our architect surmised that if the scuppers had been blocked, the boat might have been shipping a lot of water on deck.
Right. These are the scuppers right here, those openings. So they allow the water that washes over the deck to drain off.
That's right. Sometimes crews will pile gear in front of them. A skipper shouldn't let that happen. Also, the lazarette was open, and water floods in here when you're loading fish. If the vessel has a full load and starts to roll, the free surface effect of excess water shifting in the holds or on deck can swamp her.
When the boat was found, the wheel was turned 30 degrees to port and the throttle was forward. Why would somebody do that?
Don't know. But I'll tell you this, under those conditions, a turn like that could have definitely put her under.
That sounds like human error.
Human error, yes.
Oh, let me see that.
No, it's
Oh, let me get something for it.
worse than it is, huh?
They were drunk.
I'm sorry, who was drunk?
Both the father, Joe, and his son, John. They got into a hell of a fight the night before the boat went down.
When you say fight, was this just yelling or did they get physical?
The old man shoved John against the galley window, so John headbutted the old guy, broke his nose.
Thank you. That's all my questions.
You know, a few weeks ago, you and I had a discussion about the events on board that night, did we not?
Yeah?
So I'm curious to know, why wouldn't you have mentioned this fight to me at that time?
I wasn't thinking too clear then. I just got out of the hospital.
Are you fishing for Nootka Packing this summer?
Yeah?
Is Nootka Packing the same company that owns the Provider Quest? Okay, I just want to get clear on that. Let's get back to this fight, shall we? Can you tell me what it was all about?
No, but the old man and his son were always at each other's tits about something.
Were you drinking that night?
No.
Were you drinking that night?
No.
Okay. And what about this trip now? Were you ever at the helm?
Yeah.
And what'd you think of the boat? How was it handling? Was there any problems there?
Seemed fine to me.
Seemed fine to you. And Joe Vale, what was your opinion about him as a skipper, as a fisherman? Was he capable? Was he handy?
Yeah, I pretty much knew what he was doing. I fished for other guys weren't as smart.
Yeah, okay. Do you have any questions?
Yes. Were the scuppers blocked at any time?
Pretty much all the time.
And the engine room doors, the galley doors, and the lazarette were all open, is that correct?
That's normal. You can't be opening and closing them while you're working. You don't have time for that.
At the time of the rollover, all the tanks had fish in them.
We were full. We had 60, 70 tons, and we were making another set.
And whose idea was that?
The skipper's, I guess.
Did you think that was a good idea?
At the time, I was just counting the crew share in my head.
What happened when the boat rolled over?
I was down in the engine room, and I could feel the boat start to turn and the engine engage. And all of a sudden, we started to turn over fast. I came up to the deck.
Could you see anyone?
I saw the old man in the wheelhouse, and I saw your brother Michael. You had your husband with him.
Ray Vale Kipman was your brother-in-law, is that right?
Yeah.
And he was lost in the accident?
Yeah, when the boat rolled over.
Now, the night before the accident, Ray told you that he'd witnessed the fight between your dad and your grandfather.
It wasn't a fight. Ray said that Grandpa went to bat Dad in the head, like he does when you're being stupid. And Dad flinched, broke the window, and that Grandpa was laughing real hard. And Dad got up too fast and cracked Grandpa on the nose.
I see. Thank you.
On this trip, did you experience any problems with the boat?
Yeah. She seemed too sluggish to right herself. Grandpa noticed it too.
Oh, he did? Did he say what he wanted to do about it?
No, but he doesn't tell me everything.
I see. Mr. Onion?
Are you superstitious?
No.
So you didn't tell anybody at Nootka Fish Packing that you had a funny feeling about going out on this trip with your grandfather?
I only meant that I didn't think we were going to make any money because the quotas were down, and by the time we paid for licenses and fuel, we'd probably break even.
So nothing concerned you about your grandfather? You didn't think maybe he was getting too old for this?
Are you kidding?
All right. The fact that the boat was sluggish, was that a concern?
Yeah.
But not enough to stop fishing.
There wasn't anything that we did on this trip that we haven't done 100, 1,000 times before. We've been doing this all our lives. Grandpa, Dad. And they wouldn't have done anything to put me at risk. Or anyone else.
So even though you thought there was something wrong with the boat, you kept on fishing. All right. Where were you the night of the fight?
I was sleeping.
So you didn't actually see the fight or whatever it was that happened between Dad and Grandpa?
No. And Paul said he didn't see it either. Besides, Gina, you know damn well what happened that night. Because your husband called you and told you. Because Ray always called you to say goodnight.
Paul testified that the boat had a full load, but you were taking on another set, is that right?
We were going to hold the fish in the net until the Hecate Warrior could offload because they had room in their hold. But when Grandpa couldn't raise her on the radio, he thought he'd turn the boat away from the island, maybe help with reception.
So he puts the throttle forward and he turns the wheel.
That's how it's done, yeah.
Knowing that the boat was too sluggish to right herself. That she had taken on a full load, had taken on a lot of water while you were hauling on fish because we know that the scuppers were blocked. He puts the throttle forward and turns the wheel and the stern goes under.
Well, he didn't do anything wrong.
Was he drinking? Come on, Michael. You and I both know he used rum to sweeten his coffee.
Well, yeah, he had his coffee. Okay. But he was in control.
When you went into the water, did you see anyone else?
No.
Nobody. Not Dad, not Grandpa, not Ray. Where was Ray the last time you saw him?
In the crew's quarters.
Well, Paul said he saw Ray with you in the water.
Paul's wrong again.
Where were the survival suits stowed?
In the crew's quarters.
And you were on deck when you fell off the boat.
Yeah, on deck. I was on deck.
Then how do you explain the fact, Michael, that you were the only one wearing a survival suit? The only one.
I found one. It was in the water.
Just like that. How lucky for you.
What are you saying here?
You promised me you'd look out for Ray, Michael.
I did.
You promised.
I did.
Would you please confine your comments and questions to the facts?
Always carrying his weight. It's not my fault he was
None of you would ever give him a chance.
Bullshit.
Grandpa was a goddamn tyrant. He
Bullshit.
was always on his case.
He had to be. We can't afford to have a green
Because none of you would ever stand up to him.
That will do nicely. I want to see the both of you in my chambers. Jury, I apologize. This inquest will be in recess for 1/2 hour. Have a seat. Now, this inquest is about keeping what happened to you from happening to other people, to other fathers and husbands and wives. Because there's going to be fishing on this planet until the sun burns out. There's a million ways to die in a fish boat. A million things can go wrong. A million times the boat goes out and nothing happens and you don't die. But this inquest is about that one time when the luck doesn't hold and you do die. So if either of you knows anything at all about what happened here, I want you to tell me, and I want you to tell me now.
I don't know anything. I wasn't on the boat.
You never wanted to be on the boat.
Women are bad luck on boats, right?
What did Ray tell you about the argument? You know that much.
He told me what you said. That he hurt Grandpa by accident.
Did he tell you what the argument was about?
Well, Grandpa figured that there was something wrong with the refit. He wanted to raise hell with no good packing, but Dad was afraid of losing the boat.
Bullshit. If Dad knew for sure that there was something wrong with the boat, he would have done something about it right there and then.
You know, Michael, you don't stop to think or listen. Dad saw the writing on the wall. He knew that fishing was over. He said it 1,000,000 times. But he was broke, and he needed the money. You all needed the money. And so he got careless. He got careless with other people's lives.
I've seen a lot of grief in my job. I'm telling you this from the heart, straight up. If there's something eating at you, get straight with it. Get straight with it now. Okay? Your family doesn't need to deal with any more pain than what it's got already to deal with.
You're not gonna want to hear this. Those suits are hell to get on in the water, you know, even if you do know what you're doing. We were wet, shivering. We got mine on. Sort of. But Ray's suit, the zipper wouldn't open up. Jesus. It was stuck. And my hands were so cold. So cold. And I was so damn tired. Help! Help! Right here. Here. Yeah. Right here. The old man, he wanted Ray. So I let him go. And the old man grabbed him and pulled him on board and let him go. Let him go. I'm sorry.
was hallucinating. I know that now. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I didn't mean to let him go. I didn't mean to let him go.
They found the net.
In regards to the deaths of John Vale and Joseph Vale and Raymond Vale Kipman, we, the jury, find the following. Although testimony has been given to us revealing possible problems with the boat and with the performance of the crew, both of which we have addressed in our recommendations, we find that there was not one single element that caused the tragedy. Because the net recovered from the Provider Quest did not contain any rips or tears, that would indicate that the herring that were inside the net schooled in one direction all at the same time. This is a rare occurrence referred to as a herring ball. The result of this, combined with other events, was to pull the boat under. We therefore find the death of these men was accidental, and the capsizing of the Provider Quest was an act of God.
Finito?
Yeah, I think so.
Come on, wash up. Gabriella's here helping me cook.
Yes, I gotta see. What are we having?